So my house is a little bit messy because all the moving stuff. But these 6 boxes are all books. And then that medium box is all books. But the problem that I've come to is that the medium box is too heavy. So I need more smaller boxes so it's easier to lift. And I only have 3 more medium boxes left. But I have all of this left. This is all messy. So I think what I'm going to do, this box right here is unhauls. I think I'm going to put all this in a medium box. Use the HelloFresh box as a book box to go home. And then I have also DVDs in my room that I've unhauled. So that is the goal. And it's a lot. It is hectic over here. House is just messy. Okay, so while I'm packing everything, I've been listening to Bone Crier's Moon. I don't really know how far I am into the book, but some quick bullet points. This is 3 perspectives. YA fantasy, yada yada yada. Do I know what's happening? No. Is there a lot of stuff happening? Yes. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of murder. But basically, Bastian, his father his father got murdered in front of him. And now he's on this revenge plan to kill Bone Criers. And then Bone Criers are something with the gods. Like they're trying to please the gods or keep balance of stuff. So they have to kill certain people. I don't remember if it's like certain times of the year. I don't really just remember it because I'm too busy packing. But there's one girl, Elise. She basically has to kill, when she gets her true love, in order to appease the gods, she has to kill her true love. And she's like, I'm never gonna fall in love, yada yada yada. She's also searching or attacking, fighting animals, creatures to get their bones because it shows some type of strength, but also I think it gives you more powers. She has a best friend named, oh no, it's not Sabrina, it's Sabine, I think that's what it is, who doesn't like killing anything and is very, I would say, like soft-hearted for the field that they are currently in. And they're best friends and they're both on the lookout for each other. But yeah, one thing I do want to note for the audiobook, Bastian, his narration sounds like the dude Geralt from The Witcher, and I'm enjoying it. But other than that, I need to start packing because it's getting late and I don't want to be here all night long. So I'll give you an update when I have one. I want to say I'm at least 50 pages inside the book, or I'm an hour into the audiobook, so whatever that is. So I'll give you an update when I have one.
Maybe a stack of coasters from Cantina.
Oh,
Galaxy
cute.
Edge.
Oh my god. Also, you're like,
You're like, where's the monster shit?
I know, like,
Where is
BRB.
Here's what it looks like so far. This is the living room. The shelves are going to be here. These are all my friends' books and some empty boxes, but my book's coming next weekend. A dining room table. Kitchen is almost done. Then my room's over here. We're not going to go in her room. The AT&T guy is fixing the internet, which is apparently going to my room. But yeah. The first one I just finished last night is Practice Makes Perfect. You can't really see the cover. But we follow around Annie, who owns a flower shop in a small town. And she's on the quest of looking for love, somebody to become her husband, because she feels like she's missing something in her life. But the problem, not the problem, but within herself, she's very introverted and she gets nervous around people and has a difficult time talking. So it opens up with her like on a date, and it's very awkward and boring, and she's uncomfortable, and the guy she's talking to is trash. But then enters the love interest, who is Will. He is a bodyguard of one of her friends, and he's gonna stay in their small town for a whole month until her friend gets married. He is someone who people consider a player. He's tattooed, he's very buff and like cute or whatever. He is assigned a task. Basically, Annie's friend asked him to become Annie's like dating coach, but he is someone who is only into casual dating, doesn't do long-term relationships. He doesn't believe in marriage, so they come up with an agreement like, we're not going to fall in love with each other. Because of this, they build a friendship, and it's really cute. The banter is amazing. I love it. I love it. Sarcastic, funny banter. And I feel like they have great communication skills already. And I enjoyed the book. I gave it 3 stars. I don't know what it was missing. I'll say like a 3.5 stars. But I think all in all, if you're like into romance but you're not into steamy scenes, this might be the one for you. Everything's sarcastic. I don't think there was a like, was it 3rd act breakup scene, which I really enjoyed. I don't like those types of scenes. But I gave it 3 stars, and I think I'm going to read the book before this one. It was called like When in Rome, and it was based off of her friend. So I'm excited to read that. The other romance book I've read is King of Pride. I also gave this 3 stars. It's a 2nd book in the Kings of Sin series, and we follow around Kai, who is he a billionaire? He got money, okay? He has money. But basically, he works for a corporation that is family owned, and now his mother's about to step down, and they're looking for a new CEO. But you have to be voted in to become a CEO, so he doesn't need any distractions. And the people he goes against are, you know, trying to get the role, but also there's semi-sabotage, right? There is a club that this girl named Isabella works at, and it's only for exclusive members, and there are lots of rules, and the main rule is don't date any of the members of the club. Kai attends this club, and Isabella, who is the bartender, always has fun but inappropriate stories that she tells to her friend during work, and Kai always ends up like accidentally listening to a story. She is very spunky with purple hair, very outgoing, and Kai's very reserved to himself and strict. And they form a type of relationship, and they are also very cute. And I don't know, I was just lacking something else. It's more steamier than the last book I read. And yeah, it's 3 stars all in all. I enjoyed it. I'm still going to continue the series. Okay, so I just finished another romance book. It's called Whiskey Poison. And this is a mafia romance, forced proximity, nanny caretaker romance, and I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars. So basically there's 2 perspectives. There's Timothy, who is the Don of the mafia, and Piper, who is a caseworker for social services. Someone drops off a baby on Timothy's doorstep, and Piper goes to his house to basically assess if he is qualified to be the caretaker of the baby Benjamin. And before she goes there, the night before, she gets mugged outside of her job, and he's actually there and saves her. So he's like, do me a solid. Just say, yeah, I'm qualified. He wants the baby. He wants to protect Benjamin. But she reads his report, and there's a lot of situations that he was in that would make him unqualified, unfit to be a guardian of Benjamin. And she's like, no, I can't do that. And he's like, okay, how about this? Because he already knew she was going to be the social worker, or the caseworker. And he's like, I know you're in debt. You're in debt because you have horrible friends and horrible family members. They use her, manipulate her, and basically anytime someone she cares about is in trouble, they ask for money, and she ends up giving them money. So she's in debt. She's also taking care of her father's debt, her grandma's debt, and any debt her friend becomes in. And she doesn't have that kind of money. She lives in a broke down place. She rides a bike everywhere. So he's like, if you agree that he could keep Benjamin, he'll pay her, like pay all her debt. And she's like, you can't buy my cooperation, because you find out that both of them, Timothy and Piper, have childhood trauma. They have suffered child abuse and neglect, and because of that, it's like brought to them where in the positions they are at now. And he's like, okay, how about this? It escalates further, and he's like, I'm now threatening you, or friends and family, because you care about them. You are now going to become the nanny of Benjamin and stay at their mansion. and if you don't, I'm gonna harm your family and friends. So to protect them, she agrees, and she also goes because she wants to protect Benjamin from him. But also, while she's at the house, she could still write a report and say that he's unfit. So her goal is to create enough evidence against Timothy to say he is not fit to be a parent to Benjamin. But while this is all happening, you find out a little bit more backstory. There's a lot more mystery going on. There is a person named Emily who could be a friend, a family member, or a lover of Timothy, but you find out that Benjamin is her son, but Emily is dead and nobody knows who murdered her. So the whole story is basically like trying to figure out who killed Emily and why. And then also, can Piper get enough evidence to get Benjamin away from him? There's a lot of betrayal. There's a lot of secrets. There's a lot of family secrets. And it's very good. It's very intriguing. There's some spicy scenes. And it's a 3 out of 5 stars for me. And I think what I liked best is the story, the plot line. Everything was like intriguing enough for me just to keep reading and like pushing forward. Like I stayed up until 3 a.m. reading this book. I think what was lacking is characters, or it's regarding the characters. I didn't feel a romantic connection between Piper and Timothy. Like you could tell like there's a physical attraction, but I didn't feel like there was any romantic connection. They do have both like experience, I think I mentioned, from past histories with their parents, because they both experienced neglect or child abuse, and you get to experience them talking about those conversations and understanding where their mindset is and their beliefs in raising children within case managed or social work environment or child care environment. And it's good. I like that. I just wish there was more substance that would make me believe they are head over heels for each other, because there's a lot of tension, but Timothy is very manipulative and he's very back and forth with his communication style and how he treats Piper. So it's very hot and cold and very off-putting. So you're like, what is happening? Does he even like her? Even though like you're in his perspective as well, but you're like, what are you doing? You're questioning him all the time. And Piper realistically does some stupid stuff that she shouldn't be doing, knowing that you're involved with the mafia. So other than that, I'm excited to read the next book, because there's 2 books, so it leaves off on a cliffhanger. So I'll come back and tell you what that one is about, because basically someone kidnapped Benjamin. Okay, so this is going today. That's going with me home. Cleaned out the refrigerator, apartment's cleaned, and basically that's gonna go home with me. And then these are gonna be going tomorrow. These are all clothes I'm donating, hella bags. But last weekend in the apartment, I have a cleaner coming, so it's gonna be good. Okay, so since the last time we spoke, I have finished 2 other mafia romances, and I think I need to start reading something different because it's not working out. So I finished the 2nd book, Whiskey Pain. Gave it a 2-star. It's basically the same stuff, like tropes that happened before. So it's mafia romance, forced proximity, and then kidnapping. But this time I really did not like the characters. I didn't like any characters at all. Main characters, side characters, everyone was equally annoying. So it's still told in 2 perspectives. The plot premise of this one is the plot premise of this book is following around the last one. So Benjamin has been kidnapped, and Piper's trying to find evidence against her best friend, who who is working with the enemy of her man. So whatever other mafia person there is, I don't see, that's how you know I wasn't paying attention. The other mafia people. So she's trying to gain evidence from her best friend, because her best friend is basically using her for her own gain. And Timothy is upset because, rightfully so, like his son's missing, but he blames Piper immediately and goes after her, and she's trying to tell him what's happening, but he's too hot-headed and full of rage to care about what she's saying. So for her to tell the truth, he's like, I'm gonna put you in this closet, and she is someone who has lots of panic attacks when she's in small spaces because of past trauma, and he knows that, but like in the back of his head he's like, I shouldn't be doing this, but he does it, and he continues to do it multiple times throughout the book. And she's trying to tell him what's happening, and he's not listening, he's not believing her. And like, despite all of the stuff he's put her through and how he treats her and what he says to her, she's still like, I love him, I love him, I love him. And I'm like, girl, stand up. Because no, because there's no connection between them. Like, I wouldn't even say, like, in this book, I didn't feel any physical attraction, emotional connection. I didn't feel anything between that from the characters, despite them still having sex. And then, so the plot is like, you're trying to figure out who has Benjamin the baby. And then you find out, uh-oh, Piper is also pregnant because they have not been, you know, using condoms. And then, yeah, both of the characters were annoying. I don't understand why she was with this man. Her best friend is trash. I wanted Piper to throw hands so bad. So bad, because her best friend is so narcissistic and, like, doesn't care if she dies. Like, she admittedly said, like, yo, I'll sacrifice your life to save my life. And I'm like, that's not the type of friend you need. And then the ending was okay. The ending was okay. There's a lot of betrayal and, like, a lot of secrets that are uncovered. But I'm very much a character development type of person, and nobody developed anywhere in this book. Speaking of characters with no development, I read another mafia romance. This one is called Dante. So this is what the cover looks like. And also a 2-star. So this one is mafia romance, enemies to lovers, and then also the kidnapping trope. So basically it's 2 perspectives. We follow around Dante, who is the son of the mafia man, and he gets to be the head person of the mafia. And during this time, his father is like, I need you to look for this man named Leo. He stole like over $1 million from him, right? Gambling or whatever. So then Dante goes and looks for Leo, but doesn't find Leo, ends up finding his sister, Kat. Kat, you could tell, has experience or past traumas that keep her on edge. And when 2 people, Dante and like his sidemen, are in her house, she instinctively, you know, starts throwing stuff at them, starts fighting them, talking back, and you're thinking, oh, we're about to have a sassy character who has a backbone, who's about to like fight for like survival and stuff. And you get that on their first encounter of them meeting. Dante finds this intriguing, so he mentions like, hey, you're coming with me to my house because you're gonna pay off your brother's debt. And she used to be a nurse, but 2 years prior she basically quit nursing out of nowhere and then moved somewhere else and is doing like a job, like a cleaning job. So he's intrigued on like why that happened, because apparently like she was a good nurse and everybody liked her, and he just wants to find out more about her. And then you find there's a lot of connections between her brother, the mafia, and then also you find out a few years prior, like 5 years prior, Dante was supposed to be married to somebody, but the day before the wedding there was a massacre on his wife's or his fiance's side and her whole family, and everybody blames Dante. So you figure out what happened during that time. But what happened for me, is there a thing called character decreasing? Because basically Kat, in the beginning when she first met Dante, she had like all this backbone and she was like fighting him off, and you're like, oh, she's about to be a badass character. She loses all that immediately once she steps into his house. Like, there's no fight from her. And in this book, honestly, it's just sex. It's just sex. There's just so much sex. There's no for me, there's no character connection. There's some like cute sections, but other than that, it didn't do anything for me. And then I'll also say, like, look up the trigger warnings because they are sensitive topics. But those are the 2 books that I just finished, and now I need to read something that's not a mafia romance. But I think I'm gonna end the vlog here and then talk to you in the next video. Bye.